Everyone. Thank you all for joining us. Just going to give everyone a few minutes to hop on and give some time for that. In the meantime, if you want, we do have a poll set up right now that we would love to hear your thoughts on. The question is, what social media platform do you use the most? So in the theme of today's topic, we're curious to hear what social platforms are most popular for you and excited for what we'll be able to learn today. So I'll give it just a minute or two here, and then I'll hop in with an intro and introduce our team. All right, I see that number ticking up a little bit, so I'll go ahead and just jump in. Good morning to those of you who have just jumped on, and thank you everyone so much for tuning in to our February AgCo Direct webinar. Today, our topic is going to be all about leveraging different social media platforms and how to optimize your outreach for the best results. And before we jump in today, I do want to call attention to the standby slide that we have on the screen right here. So we do have two new toolkits available for both production ag and hay equipment. So they are evergreen toolkits designed to be able to use whatever pricing specials that you have going on. They'll include digital ads, a radio script, visual display, a TV spot, and also social copy and images that you can feel free to download directly from our handout section here. As a note, there's also point of purchase assets available for these toolkits, and that includes a pull-up banner and a counter mat, and those can be ordered directly from the AgCo Direct portal. As a quick bonus, you'll also find a rural lifestyle evergreen finance toolkit in the handout section today. This one was released a few months back, but I wanted to include it in here as well because it has the same goal as the production ag and hay toolkits that we have attached, where it's really promoting evergreen finance offers and free for you to use and utilize in any ways that you see fit. So with that, I'll start changing gears and jumping into the webinar side of things. We have three speakers joining us today for this presentation. We have organic social media expert Chelsea, paid social media expert Jake, and both of them are from AgCo Direct. And then we also have a digital content creator, Brent from AgCo, and he'll be talking a little bit about all of the insights on Massey Ferguson social strategy and tips for how you can collaborate. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our presenters today and let them take it away.
Awesome. So I'm first. Hi, everybody. My name is Chelsea. You'll have to forgive my voice a little bit here. I took a vacation last week and karma got me. I got influenza A. So I'm struggling a little bit, but I will be presenting today on organic social media. I think I've met quite a few of you over the past year and a half, 2 years where I've been on the account. So like Chris has said, I'm on AgCo Direct and work pretty closely with a lot of you on your social media channels. So we'll kind of be going over just organic social media in general, how to grow your channels, specific things on kind of how you can grow them, what you can do, the 80-20 rule, things like that. And then we'll be open for questions as well. So any questions you can throw in the chat and Carissa can ask them too. So first off, I kind of want to go over just really why you should be posting it organically on social media, especially outside of the social media program that I know a lot of you are enrolled in. Excuse me. Number one, it really creates brand authority. So it allows it brings your people in and it allows you to have an authority on your social media channels. So it builds a community and it allows your audience to connect with you in a different way. It allows you to reach a new audience in different ways rather than just, print media, radio, things like that. They're able to connect with you and it humanizes your brand and makes it more accessible for those people in a different way. And then it also creates loyalists and fans. So It allows people to share your content, to feel more connected to you on a different level and things like that. So it really allows people to feel like they're a part of your brand, a part of your family, and that type of thing. So it's really important to use your social media channels, not only to, sell your dealership and sell your products, but also to show that you're involved in your community, show the faces of your dealership, show your salespeople, show, those types of things. Showcase, if you have people who are buying lots of equipment, showcase them, those types of things. Because again, it just helps to have people connect to your brand and humanize the brand in that way. So just some general best practices on how to grow your social media channels. So you're going to want to make sure that you use multimedia on every post. So you want to make sure that you use a variety of photos, videos, graphics, and GIFs between different platforms. So right now we're really seeing that video is doing really well, especially on Facebook and Instagram. So Reels, things like that are tending to perform really well. We are implementing some of that into the social media program. But the more that you can do that organically, the better off you're going to be. There are some really great free tools for you to use to implement those types of things where you can just shoot cell phone footage and making sure that you're shooting it. If you're shooting a reel, you're shooting the phone up and down. And then if you're shooting it for a video, you're going to want to shoot it horizontally. So, and then you can put it into a tool called CapCut, which will be on online. It's a free tool you can use, and it'll help you to just splice your video. You can put music over it. You can actually put verbiage over it. You can do a bunch of different stuff. They have a bunch of different templates in there, so it makes it super easy for you to use. And then it'll just kick out a video for you to post on your social. Remembering that when you're doing organic social, you want it to feel really natural, feel really native. You don't want it to be too polished or overly produced. So you want to make it feel really, really, I would say, really humanized. So that's something that you're going to want to make sure that you're using when you're shooting these types of videos. And then again, making sure you're using photos and graphics and things like that, just switching up the media based on whatever platform you're using. And then content pillars from a social media strategy. So we'll get into social media strategy a little bit towards the end of the PowerPoint here too. But what you're going to want to make sure you're doing is you're having your content pillars and making sure you're focusing on what's important to your dealership and tying that back to your business goals and objectives. So if it's, like selling tractors isn't really a divine business goal, right? That's something we all want to do. But what is it specifically? Is it being involved in your community? Is it, what are your specific KPIs? So looking at those and then going in and creating well-defined content pillars from those business goals. And then once you do that, making sure that you're actually tying your social media strategy to those content pillars. So making sure that you're hitting those goals and posting on those types of things as well. Another thing you're going to want to do is interact with similar accounts or accounts that follow your brand. So if there are people if you have people who purchase tractors from you frequently, making sure you're following them, sharing stuff from them if they're posting about your dealership and things like that. Just anything that there is that you can share, especially, I know Brent's going to go over this too in a little bit, but corporate channels, they post a lot of really great stuff. Resharing that kind of stuff is really, really awesome. Super easy, really attainable fruit to be resharing on any social media channels too. Encourage conversation in your posts. So, whether that be with a CTA, whether that being asking for user-generated content. So user-generated content just meaning, asking them, hey, send us a photo of, you on your new Massey or you on your new whatever it is piece of equipment. And so having those types of things, just encouraging conversations to make sure that you are getting interaction in those posts and getting engagement. Again, humanizing your brand. So anytime you can have a face in the photo and a video, whatever it may be, that's going to be really great content for your social media channels. So if you can do walk around videos, just pointing out a specific feature on a new piece of equipment, if you can do, have a day in the life of a service person, something like that. I think those are really great videos, even just a photo and telling a little snippet of a story, anything like that to be able to humanize your brand and have people connect in that way is going to be really great for your socials as well. And then just make sure that you include content that focuses on events and special holidays. So anything that is going to be relevant to the ag industry or to your dealership in general, making sure that you are engaging and posting on those types of holidays as well. Excuse me. So some general best practices for all social media platforms. You're going to really want to structure your social campaigns around your business objectives, like I mentioned previously. So look at your business objectives and then take your social media content calendar and really marry the two together and make sure that they are working together to make sure that you're getting your goals and objectives in working together. Target your audience that is likely to convert. So what that means is look at your audience and your social media following. And you can easily do that. Facebook has a really great analytics when it comes to looking at your social media following. We also can look that up in Sprout if that's something you're interested in. But looking at your audience and then also targeting who's going to convert into sales. So, the age range, what they're buying, what their buying capabilities are, how they consume their media, that type of thing. So making sure that you're targeting them in a certain way and using your social media channels to the best of your capabilities in order to target them. Leverage your mobile first creative. So most people are using or looking at your social media channels on their phones. They're not looking on desktop computers. So making sure that when you're looking at your posting and things like that, you're posting for cell phone usage first. Use catchy headlines, descriptions, and high quality visuals. Just think of it when you're scrolling through a feed, what's going to catch your attention, right? So if you're scrolling, there's a ton of stuff you're looking at, right? So you don't want to, you're going to want to stop. You're going to want to think about what's going to catch your attention and what's going to make you want to stop and look at stuff. So think about that when you're creating your social media content as well. Not every post needs to have a link. And so that's something to keep in mind as well. But when you do have a link, make sure that it's driving to a relevant landing page. So make sure that the page that you're driving to makes sense to be driven to and makes and is relevant to whatever the post is talking about. Again, using the right call to action or CTA. So if it's learn more here, or if it's give us a call or stop in today or whatever it may be, but using that right call to action is also really important. And then just testing different platforms. So whether that be, testing out different visuals on Facebook versus Instagram, or whether it be, looking at Twitter or not looking at Twitter. I know a lot of us have really kind of gone away from Twitter. I do have some Twitter best practices in this presentation still, but that's something I know we've kind of gone away from, but it's something that, I know Egg Twitter is still kind of a thing here. So we'll kind of get into that in a little bit. So some best practices for Facebook. Again, these are all going to be pretty general, and they're all going to be pretty similar to, honestly, throughout all the platforms. So you're just going to want to keep encouraging that conversation, seeking feedback, using it as, not only a place to look for more content, so user-generated content that UGC, asking questions, but also looking and making sure that you guys are the thought leaders and the experts in the industry there too. Making sure you're replying to all of your comments, at the very least, liking the comment. But we really encourage you to respond to the comments and getting that conversation going and making the person feel like they're being heard and being responded to and talked to. Making sure that you're answering direct messages in a timely fashion. And then, again, like I said, just making sure you're using faces as much as possible. Another thing you're going to want to do is make sure you're using friendly, personable tone. And then here's some examples of CTAs that you can use as well. So watch this video, visit our website, leave it a comment if you, or drop a picture of your recent purchase, whatever it may be. Another thing we recommend doing is pinning your most important posts to the top of your page. So if there is something that you really want people to be aware of, pinning that to your page and then rotating that out. So, as things come through, make sure you're pinning, and there's on your page, you'll be able to pin them, and then it'll just automatically replace it once you pin a new one. And then this one I didn't get updated. So you'll want to post on Facebook about 2 to 3 times a week is what we're looking at, is what really is going to be kind of the sweet spot. So 2 to 3 times per week is maximum right now where you're going to want to be posting for Facebook. So here's for Twitter. So Twitter is, like I said, is kind of phasing out, but it is something that's still relevant. Twitter is. So that's something I think it's still to be, we're all kind of sitting in limbo, I think, with Twitter a little bit. So I think that's something to keep your handles and keep interacting with people and keep posting on Twitter and that type of thing. Engage in conversations where you can. This is the one where you can post anytime from, I would say, 1 to 10 times daily, as much as you can, retweeting content, quote tweeting content, especially if you're at, trade shows, things like that. Those are going to be really important things where you can engage with people. So Twitter, you're going to want to make sure that you're using really short and engaging copy. It's going to be really concise, because again, that's going to be just really short, quick, kind of blurbs of information. So those you don't need to obviously have a visual with every single time. It's just going to be really blurbs of information that people are looking to garner there. So for Instagram, you're going to want to use a light and relatable tone. This one, again, you're going to really want to use, it's going to want to be kind of concise and short copy, making sure that if you do have a link, you don't want to put the link in the copy of the post. You want to make sure that you have it's set up so that you have the link in bio, so that once somebody clicks on the Sprout link in bio, it'll pull them to whatever your link is that you're pushing them to. And if you have questions on that, we can always go through that too with your account manager. So, but it's super simple to set up. It's just a Sprout link in bio. It's a link up at the top of your page that people will go to, and then it'll push them to whatever the link is that you post on each post. So same thing though, you're going to want to continue to post, pretty frequently, utilize stories where possible, highlights, reels, things like that. So making sure when you're looking at how to grow your channels and what types of things to post, making sure that they're attention grabbing and interesting. Again, just thinking about what would grab your attention as you're scrolling through your feed. Things that will connect with people. So things that are funny, things that are nostalgic, I know we have lots of generational farmers, so there's a lot of pride there, things like that. Anything that you can post is going to be really great content. Testimonials are awesome. If you have video testimonials, if they can just even shoot a selfie testimonial, that's going to be really great content. Or, just a photo of them with their new piece of equipment, that's going to be awesome. Just be really authentic and genuine, and be really helpful in your tone and all the things that you're posting. And then another thing I wanted to go over quickly is when you see trends that you want to hop on, here are just a few things that you want to make sure that you are thinking about when you're looking at hopping on trends. So making sure that you're hopping on trends early, because trends really, they come and go super fast. So if you can get on a trend, whether it's a trending sound, whether it's a trending meme, whatever it may be, hop on it super early, as fast as you can, so that you can get it out. I mean, making sure that it's still relevant, apply it to your industry. So making sure that you can apply it to however it fits within your niche, and then trust the algorithm to bring people back to your page. So those are kind of just the top 3 things that you want to make sure that you're doing when you are looking at hopping on these types of trends. And then for social content, so a couple of rules here that I like to always go over is the 80-20 rule. So I put the OxyClean guy here for the sales guy. So we all remember him and how salesy all those commercials were. But one thing you want to make sure is when you are posting content, the 80-20 rule is that 80% of your content should focus on providing value and connection to your audience. And then only about 20% of it should be promotional or salesy. So you should really be focusing on, again, those testimonials, those faces, those community aspects, things like that. And those are the ways that you're going to get people to connect to your brand. And then you can throw in that 20% of, hey, stop into our dealership, here's, or visit our website for this sale or whatever it may be. So those are types of things you're going to want to make sure you're doing. And then making sure you're focusing on quality over quantity. So like I said, for Facebook, you really want to only be posting about 2 to 3 times a week. So with that, making sure you're really focusing on the quantity or the quality of your posts and not just trying to get posts out to get posts out. So again, these are just kind of a few different ways to grow engagement. So a couple of different CTAs for when you're looking for photos for UGC, a couple different hashtags, things like that. So hashtags are always really great to use when you're searching for UGC too. A lot of times I like to look, like, let's say on Instagram or on Facebook, I'll just search for UGC that way and see if there's different things that I can share out. And then of course, always, giving credit to the user who has shared the post. And here's just a couple of examples of things that you can always reshare too. Like I said, from Massey Ferguson Corporate. So these are kind of cool things that they have done that are really great to reshare and also have good CTAs here. A couple more here. So these are UGC. The one on the left is a UGC photo from a user, and then the one on the right, they just reshared from a dealership. So things that you'll want to make sure that you're focusing on when you are posting your organic content is just your inventory, some events, if you have any events coming up, people who have purchased or have recent purchases. So if you can get photos of them with the recent purchases and post those with their permission, that's really great. Like I said, equipment walkarounds, anything that you're involved in the community, testimonials, anniversaries, things like that. So work anniversaries, anniversaries of the dealership, anything like that. Those are all going to be really great content to post as well. And then I just have a couple more examples here of content that has been posted from different dealerships. That was really great. This one on the right, the Snyder's one, was a walk around video, which was pretty great. And again, it doesn't have to be long. I think this one was 33 seconds, so it can be super short. That's about the sweet spot that you want to see on socials. Is about that, I would say about 30 to 60 seconds max, so that you can keep users' attention there. And then just some how to grow on contests and giveaways. So you can grow your brands different ways through giveaways. So inviting people to leave a comment, asking people to tag friends on your page, doing polls, things like that. So those are different ways to grow your pages as well organically without doing any paid aspect behind them. And then short videos, like I said, so the average person's attention span is about 8 seconds. So you want to make sure that you're keeping that video, like I said, 30 to 60 seconds max. But this is going to really keep this is going to be give you higher engagement rate and lead to more shares within your target audience. And then Instagram Reels actually are really, really great. And it has about a 90% watch rate of all Instagram users each week, which is pretty great. And then I just want to touch on boosting really quick, and then I believe we're going to Jake here. So boosting can increase your reach, engagements, and impressions of posts. So what a boost is it actually is an organic post that you put money behind after it's been posted. So after it's been posted, you'll put the money behind it, and then it'll go out to different audiences that you choose from there. So it's just a way to maximize your organic efforts. So it'll kind of map back to your goals. So you can actually, we have two different ways to boost. So you can proactively boost posts that map back to your goals, or you can go back and see what posts performed really, really well, and then boost from there. And then you can kind of look at what organic posts and boosts play off of each other, and then making sure that they are posting and optimize your profiles on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, and make sure that they are looking professional and active. So making sure that you're posting frequently and keeping your pages active. And then these are just a couple different things for social media strategy. Sorry, I know I'm running long here. So a couple different things for social media strategy. So I'll just kind of run through this really quick. So it promotes brand loyalty, customer service, personalizes your brand, helps you generate new leads, helps build a community, and can increase your brand reputation. And then it helps you, when you look at your target audience, it'll actually, these are the kind of things that you want to look at. So you want to look at your location. That's really important, your age range. So what is the range you're really looking to target? The gender. So who is it? Who's making the buying decisions? Who's going to be who's going to be coming in and making those decisions? Who's going to be, coming with the checkbook? What's the income level? What are they doing? What's the occupation, which is pretty simple here. And then kind of what are they doing? What's the education? What, what's their job? Like what are they doing on the farm and that type of thing. So those are kind of things you want to look at. And then just the community management, like I said, with brand reputation, we really look at, instead of community management, look at it as really looking at it as a way, instead of just looking at just responding to comments and things like that, really taking the time to connect with people on another level. And again, it's just a way to humanize the brand. And from there, I'll pass it over to Jake.
Yeah, thanks, Chelsea. I'm Jake. I'm a media planner here with AGCO Direct, and I work a lot with social media. I'm responsible for a lot of the posting and the fulfillment of paid social ads. I've been working in paid social and with social media for several years now, so I'm excited to present here to you guys, and we'll just kind of go over, what paid social is, how it can help, and some nice practices and things to try out maybe if you haven't before. So let's just get right into it. What is paid social? So paid social really can be defined as, any sort of paid advertising on popular social media platforms. So whether that's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn, there's a bunch of other ones I'm sure like my little cousins and your kids use that you've never heard of, but those are kind of the main ones that we focus on. And I can see in the poll here, Facebook and Instagram, definitely the most popular, but as we know, TikTok has really exploded in the last couple of years, and LinkedIn has some of the highest growth rates of any social media platform right now. So there's a lot of great things going on in social media advertising right now. It really just allows us to meet our customers, where they are. Everyone is probably somewhere, whether it's YouTube, LinkedIn, people use social media for different reasons. And with paid social, we can get right in front of them and show them what they want to know. So whereas, organic social focuses on, your following, people who are engaged with your brand all the time. When you post an Instagram post, it goes out to your followers, they see it. There might be some exploring that gets done and gets in front of some more other people, but really one of the biggest differentiators with paid social is that it allows us to focus on specifically targeted audiences, whether that's via geography, interest, age. We can really get really specific with who we want to see our ad, and that really allows us so many options of getting a great return on our advertising, what we want to do with our strategy. So paid social also it's delivered via uniquely designed advertisements or boosting. So you can either think of it as a unique post where we're creating new images, videos, copy. But paid social also can involve boosting, as Chelsea talked a little bit about. That's where you pay to boost an organic social media post. But my kind of part here will focus mostly on paid social and that uniquely designed paid social where we set it up in Facebook Ads Manager or what have you. So, how could it help? There's a lot of different things that we can do with paid social. Firstly, it's just a great bang for your buck option. So one of the best things about paid social is that it delivers content in a variety of ways on multiple platforms. So with Meta, for example, when we set up an ad and when we publish our ad in Meta Ads Manager, they do a really good job of optimizing for all their different delivery options that they have available. So when we publish our ad, you might see it on your Facebook main feed, your Instagram main feed, Facebook stories, Instagram shorts, Instagram shopping, Facebook business. They do a really nice job of helping us optimize to deliver our content across their whole platform. The same goes for Twitter and LinkedIn and other social media platforms too. A lot of the examples that I'll be showing today are like on Meta's infrastructure, but all these social media platforms do a great job of helping us, get our content to where people are. So if there's a certain demographic that uses shorts more often, we can ensure that our content is getting in front of them there. Or on Facebook, like where my parents use a lot, they might see our content there. So they really do a good job of helping us get our content to where people are. And here on the right, you can see a few examples of kind of how that shows up. So this bigger picture is, like Facebook main feed. Up on the top here, we have Instagram stories and then, Instagram main feed. So that's one of the best advantages of paid social is that we kind of create our ad and then it displays it out across all platforms and delivery methods. So what is it good for? So it's great for, brand awareness, first of all. So, when we think about paid social, it doesn't always have to be that we're selling a product or service. Paid social is great for, just getting in front and keeping our brand in front of our customers. So keep it in the top of mind. We don't have to post a new ad, every time we want to go get in front of somebody. So we set up our ad, for a month or 2 months. And Facebook determines, when the right time is to deliver that ad. And that allows us, just to have that constant awareness and that constant presence in someone's feed and in their mind. So when it does come time to sell or to try to, have them finish an action, we've been there the whole time. So another thing it's great for is lead generation, whether that's, getting people signed up for a text list, an email list, just getting some contact information on people, finding out what they might need from your brand, what they're interested in, what they want. Facebook especially is great for, having a contact form and instant forms that allow us to, get information on our customers and kind of ask them questions and see, what kind of they're looking for content wise or product wise, from our brand. So it's really good about, it's kind of planting that seed and helping them along the process of signing up for a service plan or maybe buying a tractor. You never know, what someone might be looking for or when their time to buy is. So it's really good for kind of starting that process and getting leads in the door. Recruitment is huge for too. So LinkedIn is something that we've been really branching out into more. As I mentioned, it's really growing really fast. One of the most engaged platforms that we have these days. I know that I find myself on LinkedIn a lot more now than I did on Instagram or Twitter. So that's really interesting. And we've been starting to branch out into using LinkedIn for recruitment. So if you have any job openings, that's really great. Can be great on Facebook too, but getting, posting your openings, people are always looking for jobs. It can be really good for that as well. So, deals and specials is when, that might be what we think of most when it comes to paid social. We have something to sell, we have something to offer. We definitely use paid social for that most of the time. So whether it's a service special that we have going on, any deals that are going on, maybe employee discount, we see all that all the time. That's a great option with paid social as well. And then any events. Events don't have to be limited to organic social posts. Maybe if you're sponsoring an event, an ag show in your area, people want to know that as well. And paid social gives us the option to, we can geofence around an event location, and we can run it for a certain time leading up to the event and during the event. So it really gives us a lot of options, getting people engaged and interested in, all the different aspects of what you have might going on at your dealership. So that's really great. Just some more. So what are the advantages of paid social? One of the biggest advantages is that it gives us control over targeting. So whether that's geography, age, interests, occupation, we can get as specific or broad as desired, depending on our campaign goal. So if we're just kind of going for an awareness campaign, maybe we want to have it across our entire, targeting location, our entire PAR. We can be more broad in our targeting, but if we're focusing on maybe a lead generation or kind of helping people down the funnel, we can really start to get more granular with our targeting, whether that's based off interest or have they interacted with our stuff before. People who are maybe more likely to complete a purchase or come in the door. So that's one of the biggest advantages of paid social. And, it just kind of helps our audience. They're much more likely to be interested in the content. If we know based on like the demographic settings that we set up, we can be sure that we're getting in front of people who are interested in agriculture, interested in maybe Massey Ferguson, interested in dealerships, maybe looking for a tractor. We, as opposed to, just kind of blasting out, posts or, really know who's going to see it. With paid social, we can be sure that, the audience is going to be interested. They might not interact, but as long as we're in front of them, the day might come where they're ready to pull the trigger. So as far as creative strategy with paid social posts go, it's really pretty similar. A lot of the things that Chelsea said apply to paid social as well. We want to focus on engaging, personal, and authentic content. Light on branding. It's nice to have maybe a logo up in the corner, but we don't want that to be front and center, especially in a paid social post. So you can see on the right here, when you come across an ad on your feed, you already know who's posting and where the ad's coming from. If this is an agri-service ad, I don't need to have another agri-service logo, front and center in the post itself, because most people are already sure, they already are aware of, who that ad is coming from. So we want the content of the ad to be the primary focus. We want to focus on, real people, real products, tangible objects that are at your dealership, that if someone comes in, maybe they can think about it in their head, and then they can come and see it in real life. So less graphics when possible. Sometimes graphics are necessary for a deal or a service special that might be going on. We want them to be aware of what the promotion is, if it's 0% financing for however many months. But in general, especially when talking about awareness or just kind of showcasing your brand, we don't need a bunch of text on the screen. We want to let the text and the image do the talking. So another big part of that is a strong call to action. So there'll be some examples here on the next slide as well, where we can see kind of how that works. But one of our biggest things that we try to focus on is feature real people. If you have a service special going on, show a service technician, putting a battery in a tractor. We want people to be able to know maybe what can they expect if they do choose to come to the dealership or complete the action. So I'll move on to a couple examples here. This first one on the left, as we can see, so AgriService is a dealer that is in the Pacific Northwest. So one thing that we want to focus on is, okay, you can see we want people to be familiar and have it feel more personal than, some of the ads they otherwise might see are. So as you can see here, this first image that's featured in this ad is, in the woods. It looks like it could be in the Pacific Northwest. We want people to be familiar. We want them to think that, oh, maybe this isn't an ad, or, they're focusing on me, or this is like relevant to me. Why would I, click on a picture or want to learn more if, that tractor was in the desert? At least we know, okay, this is a local dealer, they understand my needs and my cares. So this is a post talking about opening, new dealerships, or new locations. So that's one of the things that we really want to focus on, is make it as personalized as possible to your audience, meet your people where they are. And then the call to action part is a little different in a paid social ad as opposed to an organic social. So when I think of a call to action, I think of that big button that says learn more or contact us, whatever it might say, shop now. We want our call to action to be urgent, but not threatening, keep it light, but we want to deliver people. We want our ad to be able to deliver people to where they want to go. So whereas we don't always need a link in an organic social post, typically we want to be driving people to some sort of page on our website or a form with paid social, so we can, track that data and also know that it's being successful, delivering success. So that's kind of a first one. Another one is this ad from Kelly Tractor showcasing used equipment. Whereas this first ad, you can tell it's a little more produced, a little more corporate photo, maybe it's a stock image. When it comes to used equipment or things that are personalized to your dealership, especially, it's always nice where you can tell, when your audience knows what to expect when they come to your dealer. So with this image, we can tell that it's most likely a tractor that's on their lot or on their land somewhere. So if someone comes across this ad, it's likely that they'll be able to find this exact tractor, maybe in the same spot. But it's always nice to have physical objects that people can see and that they can know what to expect when they come to your dealer. So that's a great example there. And then this ad from Lau and Young showcasing, service, parts. This is a real guy putting this part or fixing your tractor. You want to know that, I'm going to get real people when I come, and, it just kind of sets that expectation of what to expect, good service when they come to, or when they click on the link and finish their actions. So these are all great examples of paid social ads that we've seen in AGCO Direct. So some things to keep in mind. You always want to keep things fresh. So we want to avoid repeatedly flooding, people's feed with the same or similar ads. And this is where budget really comes into play. One of the things that makes paid social such a great tactic and option is that you can really achieve success with only a few $100s. It doesn't need to be, some huge budget or really intensive campaign. Sometimes, if for smaller dealers, if your PAR isn't as big, having a huge paid social budget can just flood someone's ad with the same, or flood people's feeds with the same ads all the time. And that's counterintuitive. We all know how it feels when we see the same commercial all the time, or during the Super Bowl, there were commercials that ran multiple times. It just kind of gets annoying. And the same thing goes for paid social. So we want to kind of find that sweet spot of, enough budget to where people see it and we get the interaction that we want, but also that it's not too much and that we don't flood people's ads, people's feeds with ads. Another thing that we can do to combat that is, changing creative frequently. So our kind of rule of thumb at AGCO Direct is no more than 2 consecutive months before we change creative. So if we have a service special going on, the max that we'll run that is for 2 months before we change creative and change the ad text. We want to always keep things fresh and have people think, or make people think, they're getting new content and new things are happening. We want to be active all the time, but we don't want to be stale. So that's one of our biggest rule of thumbs that we do. Another thing is that ad content should line up with what's in season. So, for example, harvest focused ads perform better in the fall during harvest time than they would in January. Or, spray parts or application. It might seem obvious, but sometimes I do see, a harvest ad maybe that ran too long, and then it just doesn't, it kind of defeats the purpose of why we segment those aspects. So we want to make sure our content is relevant and timely, and lined up with, what people are interested in, and what's relevant to them at the time. So some things to try with paid social, maybe if you haven't before. There's Facebook especially allows for A/B testing. So that allows you to test different variations of your ad by changing aspects such as images and ad text, audiences. It's great for testing new ideas that you might have or new offerings that maybe you don't want to blast out to everyone. It's great for having different options, keeping things fresh and not stale. It's really good. Really good option if we want to, try how things work without, devoting a ton of budget to it. And then another thing that paid social allows is for retargeting. It allows you to specifically target audiences already familiar with and engage with your brand. So if they've if they've been to your website before, or if they've, interacted with your post, comment, or liked before, we can target those people specifically, who might have a higher likelihood of lead generation. And that can translate into more engagement across platforms. So if we get people engaged with our brand via paid social, or maybe we get them to complete a purchase, they're likely to stay engaged with our brand, rather than if we, blast out to people and have an audience who, has a lower likelihood of completing a purchase with us. So paid social is a great option. You can do a lot of different things with it. There will be time for questions at the end if we have anything there. But with that, I'll turn it over to Brent.
Thank you, Jake and Chelsea. My name is Brent Stamen. I am the digital content creator on the Massey Ferguson brand for AGCO. And today, I'll try to run through this a little bit so that we have time for questions. But really, I'm going to give you a short peek behind the curtain of our social strategy for Massey Ferguson and how we're sort of progressing this year. And then also we'll show you a little bit of ways that you can put your content in action using what Jake and Chelsea were talking about. With that, I'll just dive into our social strategy. So really where we're going from a brand is how do we put the right content on the right channel in front of the right audience at the right time. This is the first time that we as a brand have had all channels accessible to us. So just a little bit of history, Massey Ferguson obviously is a global brand, right? So our social channels used to be tied into the global channels and we didn't really have a lot of flexibility on content. Now we have a full suite of social platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, that we can personalize for North America and use in North America. So this strategy is to essentially use all of those platforms to our advantage and making sure we're putting the right content on those channels, and making sure that we're targeting the right people in each of those platforms. And like Jake said, using seasonally relevant content to target our audiences. You heard Chelsea talk a little bit about content pillars. Here are our Massey Ferguson content pillars that we're using as a brand on our social channels. So we've got products and features, industry expertise, farm life, fans and dealers, Triple Triangle, which is our brand. I won't go through all of this. I'll show you an example in a minute, how you can apply this to your dealership. And then from our channel perspective, we have Facebook, which we're viewing Facebook really as the hub of all of our information. Anything that we're posting from those pillars will go on Facebook. When you get to Instagram, we're looking at our audience. Our audience is a little bit younger. So what content are we putting on Instagram? It's probably just farm life, some fans and dealers, user generated content, and some information about products and features. And then YouTube for us is really a owner-centric platform. We're positioning that channel as a way for owners, people who own our equipment, to go to and find out any information that you might want about a piece of equipment. So walkarounds, how-to videos, DIY parts, that's what you'll see on YouTube. Twitter is sort of more newsy, more relevant content from a news perspective there. So that's what you'll see on Twitter. And then obviously we have our website and our newsroom, and our newsroom is where we'll be posting articles, farm stories, that type of content. So how do we apply what Jake and Chelsea talked about to your social channels? How do you create content? Social can be very overwhelming very quickly. You're like, oh my gosh, I have to create all this content. I have to do all this stuff. It's so much work. And it can be a lot of work. But what I'm here to tell you is that we as a brand in Massey Ferguson and Fendt and AGCO in general have been investing in creating content that is available to all of you. So really what I want you to hear is that you don't have to create all this content on your own. From our perspective, each week, maybe 3 or 4 times a month, we're posting articles on the newsroom. Those are farm stories, those are press releases about new products, articles with tips and helpful information, all accessible to you guys to pull the link and share on your own dealer social media channels. Same with YouTube. We're sort of increasing the frequency in which we post there with how-to videos, walkarounds, informational videos. Again, download those videos, post them on your own social channels, share them, use them as you wish. We're investing in that content and we want you guys to use it as well. There's also the AGCO Direct portal. You saw the toolkits at the beginning of the presentation. In all of our toolkits, we have social media content with copy and imagery that you can pull off of the AGCO Direct portal and utilize on your own social channels. And then our brand social channels. So following Fendt, following Massey Ferguson is really important so that you can share the content that we're creating. And then one thing that we're doing on our side that we've gotten into lately is influencer content. So we found a couple niche individuals that help provide content. So we work with somebody called Kayla W. She produces a lot of hay content. So that is where a lot of our hay content comes from. Somebody else is creating that content and we're working with her because she runs our equipment, but we're getting content from her and just giving her a little bit of direction. So it's an easier way to get content from other sources. Here's the content pillars so I took our content pillars from Massey Ferguson, and I sort of tried to apply it to a dealer. Feel free to use this example, feel free to take this and use it for your own social media channels, but just an example of how you could use content pillars for your dealer social media program. Again, products and features. What are you selling? What are the features and benefits of those machines? We know that you sell more brands than just maybe Fendt and Massey Ferguson sometimes. So what is the whole breadth of the equipment that you're selling, and how can you create content around that? From an industry standpoint, tips, helpful information. We talked about walkarounds. We'll do walkarounds as a corporate entity, but can you do walkarounds on your lot about the equipment that you have there? Farm life. So do you have customer testimonials, customer stories? Can you spotlight customers? That would be a way to humanize who you are as a dealer. And then fans and customers. I know there was a question about UGC content in the chat. Really where we get user generated content is from our boosted post. That's where we see the most people commenting and liking and sending us in photos. The other way that we've sort of done that is by commenting and by commenting. So saying, hey, comment on our photo and share XYZ. User generated content is a little bit difficult, but there are ways to do it. You can look at hashtags, but what you want to make sure you keep in mind is asking that person if you can share the photo. And then the last sort of pillar is dealership content. So this is really for you to also humanize your brand and show your community what you've been up to as a dealership. Who are your employees? What awards? What events are you going to? Are there specific holidays that you want to celebrate and post about? When we look at this content pillars from a Massey Ferguson standpoint, here is sort of content that you can take from our brand that we're already creating, right? So on our website in our newsroom, you'll see expert interviews, agronomy news, innovation, customer testimonials. You'll also see on YouTube how-tos, DIYs, parts and service content. And then all of this is shareable and we'll be posting, but we have influencer content and we have UGC photos that we're posting. We encourage you to share that stuff. So you can see that this pillar example here is starting to fill up with content that we are producing and that you guys can take from us. The other thing I want to talk a little bit about is the dealer social media program. It's another way to help give you content for your social media channels. What this program is not supposed to be is your entire social media program. And we'll look at the pillars here in just a second so you can see what that looks like. This is really to supplement your dealership and give you simple product brand content from AGCO Brands that talks about our products and services. We're making some enhancements that'll come later this year from a creative perspective, from a content perspective. So we're trying to really amp up that program and make it something that you want to enroll in. But I would also say that the more dealers, the more channels that we have in that program, the better we can make that program and the more optimizations we can make to that program. So when you look at the dealer social media program and you look at that content pillars, this is where the dealer social media program really fills in, is that feature and benefit information. We're probably going to add a few customer testimonials. Again, those will be very generic because we don't have testimonials for every single dealership. We might add some tips and helpful information in there. And then that program also includes holiday posts for your brand. If you take the dealer social media program and what I just talked about with the content that we're creating as a brand, you can sort of see that if you take this pillar example, it's pretty full with a lot of content, and all of this content is stuff that we're creating and you don't have to create on your own. So if you leverage the content that we're creating as a brand and that we're investing in as a brand, there's a little slice of the puzzle that you need to fill, which is your dealership bucket, right? So it can start to be very easy to fill your social media calendar if you leverage the content that's out there from some of our AGCO brands. The other thing that I'll leave you with is we want to collaborate with you. One of the things that we're doing on our end on our social media channels is following all of our dealers. We want to see your content. We want to share your content. We want to celebrate your customers. And the only way we can really do that is, one, if you follow us. So here are all of our social media channels. And then I also put a card in the handouts section that has all these handles. But the other thing that's really important is tagging our accounts. I talked about our global strategy and how we fell out of that. So all of our accounts that you see from Massey Ferguson have North America or NA on them. That's how you know that they're the correct accounts. So tagging us and mentioning us is really important because that's how we see your content and that's how we can interact with it and share it. And then the last thing I'll say is enroll into the dealer social media program. We're making enhancements to that program that'll really help increase the types of content and the look and feel of that content. So look for that coming soon. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brent, Jake, Chelsea. This has been super great to be able to hear your guys' insights and what you recommend for leveraging social media. One quick note I wanted to add before we jump into questions is Brent added the Massey Ferguson social media handles as a handout in our handout section for anyone that wants them. It's a super great reference to make sure that you're tagging the right accounts when you are posting on social and everything. So with that, the first question that we have is, we've tried a number of different tactics to obtain UGC. What recommendations do you have to encourage people to send photos, tag us, comment photos, etc.? Since this is kind of a good overall question, I'll let the group answer as a panel here. Try to keep your answers pretty quick just so we can jump through all the other questions, but turn it over to you guys. Starting with Brent.
Sorry, coming off mute. I kind of mentioned this when I was chatting, but really, again, where we have seen user generated content come in is when we put a little bit of money behind a post. I mean, people love to interact with, and people love to interact with other user generated content, right? So like if we're posting a user generated photo of a piece of equipment, people love to comment on that photo, like, here's my equipment. I think the other thing is diving to hashtags. So like if you were looking for Massey Ferguson, hashtag Massey Ferguson gets a little bit, that's a global hashtag, right? But using hashtags, finding hashtags within agriculture is often another way that you can try to find photos of that other people have posted.
Excellent. Thank you, Brent. Anything you would like to add, Chelsea or Jake?
I would just say, building off what Brent said, I think another thing you can add too is if you have a couple of, if you post that UGC photo and then you can get things going, even if there's a couple of photos that you guys have within your dealership, UGC, to get the thread kind of going on social media, even though it's kind of cheating in a way. But I think, like Brent said, once people see that thread really getting going, they're going to start commenting, and then it's just going to really take off. So if you don't have budget to put behind the post, I think that's a good way to kind of get it rolling.
Excellent. Thank you, Chelsea.
Yeah, and the only other thing I would say maybe to add on to as an option is like in some of your correspondence with your customers, like at the bottom of an email or maybe in a handout at the dealership, just a little blurb, with your handle and maybe some common hashtags that you would want them to use, that you can get in front of them, and just some encouragement maybe to post, maybe post purchase or something like that. Just a little encouragement. Don't want to be like overbearing about it, but that could be an option too.
Excellent. Thank you, Jake. And last question that we'll do today, just for the sake of time, and I'll open this up to the panel as well, but what is the best way to stay on top of trends and find what is popular content? I'll let anyone jump in who feels passionate about it. Perfect.
So from that standpoint, I know that if you're native in the Instagram platform, there are trends and in there that they show you. I'm not exactly sure where I'd have to go and look where it's at, but I know I've seen it before that you can go on that platform. Again, hashtags is really important, but do some research, do some Googling. There's plenty of articles and people out there that are posting about the latest trends in social media. So that would be sort of my quick advice.
Awesome. Thank you, Brent.
Yeah, I agree. I think just being on social media, spending 15, 20 minutes a day going on there and going through your feed, and that's where it becomes really important on who you're following too, so that you can see those trends and hop on those things as well.
Great. Thank you, Chelsea.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd have much more to add. Those are the main options there. Otherwise, just paying attention to maybe what your customers are saying when you're around them at the dealership. It's always good to do a little market research, in person research as well. So maybe feeling it out, what people are interested in, what they're consuming. But yeah, definitely being on social media just a little bit a day can just tap you into it more than you otherwise would. So yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Jake. And thank you everyone again for tuning into our webinar today and for the little extra time as we went a little bit over. I do want to note, if there are any questions that anyone has after this webinar, feel free to reach out to your AGCO Direct account manager and they'll be able to connect you with any of our presenters today, and we're still happy to answer any questions that you have. Otherwise, we will have a recording of this webinar as well, so if you had to hop off a little early, or anyone that you know couldn't make it, feel free to share it out that way too. So thank you again, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.